Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today we're going to get you out of your own damn way. You know what I'm tired of more than anything? Is when I hear over and over again, I want to do this in my business. I want to be, have all these people, enrolled under me in network marketing, yet you don't do the actions that are required consistently to get you there. And then when I ask you why, it's like, oh, I don't know what to say. I feel like you have to be this way to show up on social media. I don't have that many followers. I don't dance. I don't make a fool of myself like you. I'm kind of a boring person. I hear all those things all the time. Enough's enough already. We need to get you out of your own way if you want what you say you want. And I brought on the perfect person to help get this message across. My friend, Tara Romano, you may have heard of her. She's a top network marketing expert and the creator of Tone and Tease. She is a fellow Instagram dancer like me, but she's actually trained, unlike myself, but we'll get into that. But I wanted Tara on specifically for this because her whole thing with her brand and everything she's built is show up as you are. And she does the whole zero fuck zone that I talk about. It's that's when people are magnetized and drawn to you. That's what we need more of. We don't need more Polly the influencers. We don't need more bobbleheads. We need more of you. The boring, the awkward, the flabby, the stretch marks, the crazy, the wacky. That's what we need more of. What's up, Tara?
I'm shaking my head. Yes. That's exactly what we need more of.
So first, gotta know what gives you a rash when you're scrolling on social media that you're like, I can't fucking see this anymore?
I feel and just to be completely honest, because I feel there's no other way to be, is when this, for whatever reason, it triggers me, the perfectly curated Instagrams and the coloring, maybe because it's just not something I've ever been attracted to. But I think sometimes everyone feels like everything has to be perfectly curated. And I'm actually thinking about one of your reels where you were doing one of these robot dances.
Yeah. So when we see those feeds, and there's part of me where I'm mesmerized by it. It's kind of like when I see those professional organizers and everything has its place. It's you know what? That sounds nice. I wish I could be like that. But you know what? I'm a lot more messy than that. And it's not realistic. And plus, how stressful. Now you all would have to go, okay, now I can do a quote graphic today, but tomorrow I can't because that's going to mess up the grid. And now I've got to do this the next day. It's we have a lot of other things that are way more important to think about, don't we?
Yeah. And actually, if you scroll down a couple or a few years ago, that was me, having the black and white quote tiles all in a row. I tried so many different things. And I remember trying to be perfectly curated, the coloring and everything. And it just didn't fit who I was. It never felt good posting. And then after a while, I was just like, I'm just going to post whatever I want. And I have really pretty pictures. I love doing photo shoots, but I don't think that we have to get so caught up in like how it looks to other people. I think when we post and do things that resonate with who we are, I think that's when people are attracted to it.
It is really hard for so many people, so many of you guys listening, and I was there too. Remember, I've only had a personal brand 2.5 years, and I've only started monetizing it for the last 2 years. So I can tap into where a lot of you are at. It's very intimidating in this space. Quite frankly, it can be intimidating to see someone like you, right? I mean, you've got some serious moves. You have a great body. You have, that's like, I would fully go, oh my God, she's so confident. Of course she's confident because she's a great dancer. She has a great body. And then I scroll a little more and then I see this girl with like perfectly long blonde hair and ab lines and, everything she wears just looks good on her and she has no cellulite. And I can tell you that part of my resistance, because I had the idea for ProjectME with Tiffany Carter for 10 years. Part of my resistance for showing up is I was like, I'm not skinny. I'm not, Polly the influencer. I don't have that look. I'm not going to wear the flowy, flowery dress and, just have that whole thing going. So it can be so intimidating right now. And I want you to speak about that. It's like, this is how we think. I mean, I really could have showed up probably a solid 2 years sooner than I did, all because of that.
This resonates with me so much. And I just want to go back like a few years ago. When I first started going to actually women's events, and I was considered successful in terms of, I had a really successful network marketing business. I was traveling. People were inviting me to host classes from my YouTube channel. And I remember going into one of these women's events and just all of a sudden I started to look at all of the beautiful women in the room. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't pack the right things. I started to get super, super anxious. So I think sometimes we can look at social media, especially Instagram, because it's just so visual. And we automatically, whether we're in a good mood or not, or in a great place, you can start comparing yourself to everyone, and especially what they look like, and thinking that it's the outside and the physical look is what gets you to the next place. And it's just not the truth. And we automatically look at a number and some beautiful person and think that we can't do something. And then we become paralyzed. And then that's exactly what we do. We just do nothing.
What does it take then in your experience? Because I know that you have mentored and you have coached many women to be very successful in network marketing. Also other people like women that you work with inside your Tone and Tease brand, helping people and women with their self-worth. So what does it take?
Doing action. One of my favorite quotes is action neutralizes negative emotions. I mean, we're humans. Of course, we're going to feel negative emotions, frustration, jealousy, sadness, fear, whatever it may be. But if we do nothing, they stay there. I always say that, and especially even more now after this year, is that it's not the, I don't think that we need to be like, oh, let's just be happy, positive thinking, good vibes only. I don't believe in that. I believe in feeling an emotion and figuring out how you're going to work through it. So that's why movement is something I'm super, super passionate about. So like the mindset and the movement piece together, because it's like moving through that emotion. How are you going to do it? Are you going to sit in your chair and think about when you're feeling negative, frustrated, and how your body is sitting and feeling? What are your shoulders looking like? But then versus when you're feeling really good, like, what are you wearing? How are you sitting? What are you doing? So in order to move through emotion, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to move. So whether it's a jumping jack, breath work, dancing, walking, switching rooms, you have to do something. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stuck in it. And that energy in your body is literally just going to stay there. And it's going to transfer over to the next day and like attract more energy that's similar.
It's 1,000% true. There's science behind it. For those of you who are researchers, for those of my medical professionals that listen to the show, like go and Google that. It is facts. We have energy, we have emotions that get trapped in our body. And that's why when you see me like dancing like a fool on social media, it's not because I want attention. Number one, I do a lot of things because I love humor and laughter, because that raises everyone's collective emotion and vibe. And I believe we all can use more of that at any time. But I'm also doing it for myself and hopefully encouraging you guys to do it, because even when I do something for like 1 minute, or I'm brushing my teeth and I'm like, hey, hey, and I'm just doing that with myself, I feel guaranteed, even if I woke up like, and let's be honest, I wake up most days like I don't want to get out of bed. That's just, I'm not a morning person. It absolutely lifts my mood by a solid 50%. I mean, you don't have to show that on social media to get the boost out of it, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm so similar to you that like just moving my body like all the time. It feels good, and we don't always want to do it. And it's interesting because a lot of people, even with my tone and tease classes or any kind of dance classes, I'm not a dancer. It's just I don't know how to dance. But the funny thing is before you most likely spoke a word, you danced, you moved to music, and it just is such a freeing feeling, and it really allows you to just get out of your head.
Yeah, I mean, when we're dancing, think of some of the best memories you have in your life. Most of those best memories involve movement. There's an actual deliberate strategy around live events, you know, Tony Robbins, all these events where they purposely make you move, and they deliberately use certain music because psychologically it puts you in a better space. And then what happens? You then have a positive thought now associated with that event. That's how powerful that is. Yet, why do you think so many people resist doing this movement, even if no one's watching? Why do you think so many people sitting still and stay with that energy, that defeating, depressed, I'm not good enough energy?
I feel like it's self-sabotage. And a lot of the times people don't even realize they're doing it. And I say this from experience too, because throughout my journey, I feel like I've been on this journey of like learning what an entrepreneur is and network marketing for going on 11 years. And even when I learned about personal development and I started to hire my first coach, obviously there's always another layer of the journey of, stepping deeper into understanding yourself more, creating new stories. And I would see the same situations happening in my life over and over again. And I just think we're so used to what we do, we almost don't even know that there's another way. And I remember before I got into network marketing, I come from bartending. I've been in the restaurant industry. I started when I was literally 11 years old. I'm such a worker.
Wait, you were bartending at 11 years old?
No, I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 11.
So
dishes.
you were raised like me. Like my ass started working at 8. Like I didn't have a choice.
Oh, yeah.
So you were like serving a burger at 11.
I mean, the last year I had W-2 forms. I had 7. I literally never had less than 3 jobs. No joke. I just am a worker by nature. I remember I must have been an entrepreneur when I was young, because I remember I was like 9 or 10 and I had a store in my room. I literally grabbed stuff from around the house, like construction paper and like, cups, and I sold it in my room, and people like my mom and dad came in and actually bought the stuff. So I must have been an entrepreneur.
That's so cute.
But I want to share a story about when I started my YouTube channel, which was probably like 8 years ago. Now, I actually am not a trained dancer. I stopped dancing when I was 5 because my mom said I would literally like throw myself on the floor and throw a fit, like to go to dancing school. But I was a cheerleader. I always loved movement. So when I started my YouTube channel, I was just excited about sharing choreography because I started to make up dances. I was older, like I was 32 or 33. So that was like almost like about 10 years ago. And I just shared what I loved, and literally just stepping into that, people just started messaging me, and I would talk before my videos. And it's funny because if you look back at some of my videos, I mean, I was very shy. I wasn't the most fit, but I literally showed up consistently all the time and I was exactly who I was. And that was a large part of the network that I grew and why I started traveling so much. And then, essentially growing my network marketing business. So I share that story because I had no idea what I was doing. My videos aren't perfectly curated or cut. They're nothing fancy, but I had grew a really strong, community base online that I'm still able to stay connected with.
So did you have like a professional videographer or an editor?
So my friend Paul Lampa, he had a video camera and he helped me like just cut it, but there was nothing fancy, nothing professional at all.
Wow. Because I've joked about on other episodes, I spent, I don't know, almost 20 grand on my YouTube videos because I was like, I'm cashing in on YouTube. Like I know I'm good at video, blah, blah, blah. And then I like got a makeup art. I mean, the whole thing, it was like a TV studio in my house. I've not converted $1. I talk about all the time. And the reason is because with like any platform, you have to, number one, show up as you. You guys can go look at the videos. They're fabulously done and very informative, but it's like newscaster Tiffany. Like I thought in order to be respected when I started in this space, I had to be like very professional and not swear, which was, a newscaster Tiffany. And now we see how far I've gone the other way. But you have to show up. You have to go all in on it. So it sounds like when you started YouTube, you went all in. So what does that look like? Were you doing a video a day or?
No, because I didn't know. There was no rule. I didn't know anything about doing one video a day or you should do these hashtags or anything like that. So I really just shared whenever I felt like it. Some weeks there were 3 videos, then next week there was 1, and then I started sharing like talks about my sneakers because people asked about those, or my sweatpants. And I feel like it wasn't just the dance that I was showing. I was really connecting with them. And that, in my opinion, is the most important thing. We have to connect with people. So, just posting a beautiful picture and then writing really great content, like I'm all about that. I love writing. I think that we can really express in such a beautiful and creative way. But I also feel like you have to connect through video. You have to. People need to hear you. Voice note when you message someone, like, forget about typing. Um, Something that I do all the time is wish people a happy birthday through voice note. I still use Facebook a lot. And people aren't doing that anymore. People aren't doing the simple things to connect with somebody just because. And I think that is why we're not deeply connecting and getting the sales that we want, because we're looking to post and reach out to people to get something in return when we're not even thinking about giving and just being a good human and just simply being like, hey, I know it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Sending a voice note. I know like, it's something simple.
Coming from a place of service first. And I understand because so many of you are like, girl, I need to make some cash. Like I need money and I want to quit my job, or I need to be, money needs to start coming into my business. I used to be broke. I get it. But when you're thirsty for that cash, I'm telling you, it is not going to happen. And I know it's kind of like a mind fuck almost, because you're like, but I do want the cash. You've got to flip it in your head. You really do. And you've got to trust that you show up as you and you genuinely connect with people and want to serve and help them. And it has to be real. Otherwise, you need to stop doing this. I mean, I've coached people where I've said, you know what, we're stopping because you're wanting to do this just for the money. It just won't work. There's other businesses you can get into just for the money. Go be a day trader or something like that in the stock market. But utilizing social media or being in something like network or affiliate marketing, like you have to connect with the people, and it can't be, oh, I'm going to do a photo shoot and then I'm going to write these posts, or I'm going to do these 3 videos. And then I know what happens, right? And we talked about this before we came on live on the show, is that then people go, Oh, I'm not, no one's enrolling. No one's buying anything. I did my launch and no one signed up. So I really want you to speak about that because I know you've probably heard that hundreds of times in your career.
Oh, I have so much to speak on this, and I'm just like nodding my head. So, number one, sales is a relationship business. That's just what it is. So, I mean, you can do all of those other things. Why consistently? I mean, it takes like 15 seconds to wish someone a happy birthday on a voice note, or just reach out to them, or do a video just sharing something about yourself. People connect with people, and it's all about relationships. So yes, I understand wanting the income and the sale, but it comes from the relationship that you make. So I feel like we live in such a microwave world where people want to post something. And sometimes this happened in the beginning when people start a business, like they're excited and they have that different kind of energy and they get the response back that they want, but they don't understand it. It's something that you have to show up consistently every day. Now, I don't think that everyone has to do something the same way, meaning, like, I mean, there's funnels and emails and text messages, and there's just like so much going on social media that we can be overwhelmed by what to do first. But I feel like once you start, you'll know what resonates with you specifically. And I know for me, when I first started in this online space world, when I really was starting to make a website, and this was after network marketing, after YouTube, I got really caught up in what I looked like. I was like, well, I've created success. I have to keep it, So I started looking at what everyone else was doing and started to mimic that. And it didn't resonate, but I did it anyway. And I wasted a lot of money and a lot of time. So look at people to be inspired, take action, do it consistently, but find what works for you. Because when you do all these things consistently and then have fun with it. I mean, just have fun. And that's why one of the reasons I love you so much. I wound up unfollowing a lot of people during the pandemic because I was just getting triggered by like everyone I looked at either was telling me what to do or just seemed like they were thriving. And I just needed a minute. I'm like, I need to reconnect with what feels good for me. And then the last thing I want to say, because I think we're also in this space of like being in alignment and doing things that feel good, which I completely agree with. But don't let that make you stop and not do anything. Like, not every day is going to be very zen where you're like, oh, everything is flowing through me. It's just not how it works. Like, but you have to keep going because if you had a brick and mortar business, like if you weren't in flow one day, you'd still have to show up for your business. It's just how it works. Like people get sick, people die. And unfortunately, you still have to go to work, So find how to do that, be inspired, self-motivated and just consistent.
I freaking love this. I love analogies. Okay, you guys, let's calm our titties for a second. I mean, we've all. I worked. I worked at Starbucks. Like that's why I'm like I am. You want a like a legit coffee drink? Like I'm your girl, but I don't cook, so I can do that for you. And we have Tara here. She clearly makes a good cocktail, and I'm down for like a solid dirty martini.
My favorite.
Not too dirty. And I would prefer blue cheese stuffed olives, even though I'm kind of weird and I might only eat one of them. I still would like probably like 2 or 3 in there.
No less than 3.
Oh my
God.
That's
my drink.
Is it really?
That's my drink. Like I do Tito's lightly dirty. And I like extra olives actually. Blue cheese preferred.
Okay. Well, this is
my favorite.
When we're allowed to like touch and see each other. This is going down.
Happening.
Oh my God, how funny. That's like my exact drink.
Yep.
And everyone's like, you're very particular. I'm like, yes, we should be particular about what we want. Back 100%. To the analogy. You've all had a job where you had to go in somewhere. Okay. Like I had to go into Starbucks, or when I was a newscaster, I had to show up in the station. I'd be fired, right? Some of you have those jobs now. Some of you own brick and mortar businesses now. You're a chiropractor, you're a healthcare professional, dentist, doctor, whatever. So, I'm not in flow today. So I'm just not going to show up. Your ass would be fired. So why is it any different for your side hustle or when you're your own boss? It is no different. Like, would you fire yourself right now based upon how you've been showing up daily and what's required? I bet you many of you would fire yourselves, because the key here is the people I know who are successful Tara, myself, many other people, we show up regardless. I don't feel like doing most things most of the time. Do you?
No, and to be honest, during this pandemic, it was a rough year for me, and but I think that what I went through emotionally has made me a better teacher because I did not want to show up. And I remember right before I did a lot of traveling with Tone and Tease and speaking last year. My dad had passed, and I got on a plane, a few days later, just because that's just what I do. And listen, I'm not judging anyone who decides to do whatever they want to do. However, I really think there is healing in action. And, sometimes the action is maybe taking a minute and not doing anything. But I feel like we go to that more often than not, because then everyone gives you a reason like, oh, I understand, you should take some time. But we know what we're going to do. We know what will happen if we don't do anything or continually do the same things. But I feel like people don't give themselves long enough to try something different and uncomfortable and keep doing it day in and day out.
What are some ways that you have made putting out content? I refer to it as the content monster, which I'm thinking about dressing up as for an Instagram reel for Halloween, or Polly the influencer, or both. And both would be very entertaining. So you
100%.
guys take a screenshot of this episode right now, share it on Instagram stories, tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Tara, are you at Tara Romano, or do you have a different one? I can't remember.
At Tara Romano.
Okay, so TARAROMANO. If you're jogging, pushing a baby stroller, taking a poop, or at work, you know my handle, and then I'll make sure I get Tara tagged. And then I want you to put on there like what you're voting for. Either content, Tiffany's going to be the content monster, or Polly the influencer, because one or the other is happening. But what are some ways that you have gotten yourself to show up when you just felt gross? I don't know what to say. Oh my God, it's more fucking content. There's so much content. I can't think of something. I'm not in a creative space today. What kinds of things have you done to just like do the damn thing anyway?
Yeah. When someone says that they are not sure what to post, I ask them what they do on a daily basis. Like, what are the things that they love? Like, what, other than their career, their family, like, what would they be doing if they didn't have to go to work or their family wasn't around? Like, what lights you up? What makes you laugh? What makes you feel good? Are you reading? What are you reading? What are you watching? And just like, I think also posting whatever feels good, whatever's on your mind, and just being honest. I do also think that like, vulnerability and being authentic is, a lot of people do that, which I think is amazing because I do. And I think there's a way to show that in a very empowering way and not feeling a victim of your circumstances. People really connect to vulnerability. I feel so strongly about that. Like when you share something that you're going through or have gone through, people really connect to a story, like something that they can see themselves in. So I feel like if there's something that you're feeling or thinking, share it. Another thing that I share with a lot of my team in terms of sharing on social media, because these are all different ages, parents, some even right out of high school. And I say, what are three things that three characteristics that you have about yourself, or again, something that you love, and just like write those three things down. So for me, I feel like it's vulnerability, movement, and fun. So I'm always going to go to those things when I can't think of something to post. I mean, I feel like now I just, after the year we had and going so deep, I just have so much to share because I'm in such a creative space. But when I'm not, there's always a book. There's always a podcast. Again, I unfollowed some people and started following people who made me feel good and who I felt really inspired by. So I think we can get a lot of inspiration from other people. And if something or someone's not making you feel good, unfollow them. You don't have to keep scrolling through Instagram.
What a great point. She just gave you two exercises, like your three. What are your, I'm actually going to make that a call to action in my post that you can go and see right now today. And I want you guys to drop those in the comments of that post after listening. I love that. What are your three characteristics? And really think about that. And we all have them. So you can't say you don't have it. Right. And I do want you guys to unfollow. Now, I know there's people who it wouldn't be appropriate or good for me business wise to unfollow, but you can mute people. They don't know when they're muted. I fucking mute people who like I'm homies with. If they're going through some stuff where they're in a spot where they are just throwing out, their energy is just off. It's not in a mean way. It's just, I can't have it. For me, I get very triggered by people who are like, now I have my second book out and now I have a third podcast. Now I have 2 courses and I'm starting a TV show. And this all has happened in the last 3 months. And it stresses me out because it starts making me go, oh my God, now I have to do more. I'm going to have to do more to grow my business to where I have the vision for. I have to do more, and I don't want to do more. I'm my whole jam is I'm all about doing less and making more money. That's my whole brand. That's what I teach you guys. So when I see people like more, or they're having they're another photo shoot, it's stressful. Like, is that some of the stuff you're talking about? Like mute those accounts or unfollow that stuff?
I mean, again, like, and just being completely honest, like I was not in a good place during this past 6 months. So when I would look at people who were, it was triggering me. It really was. And they were people I loved. I actually, one of them was a close friend of mine. And I said, I just want to let you know I had to unfollow you. I'm like, this is what I was going through. And I feel like just being honest about that. So also with the characteristics, those are the type of people I follow. So I follow people who are fun. I follow people who are authentic and vulnerable. And I follow people who love to move because it makes me feel good. It helps me be inspired and creative. So yeah.
With this whole moving thing, because I mean, I am such a strong believer of this. I actually was like, I went to like dance camp and shit. Like I did do that stuff early on. And I was like thinking about it before I interviewed you. I'm like, when did that kind of stop? But I never stopped moving. I mean, I had a fake ID at 15 and I, snuck out the window and went to the clubs in Chicago with clear braces. Thank you. Like,
oh my God, that is fantastic.
And I like made sure I ordered a drink that sounded like what an adult would drink. So like, not like I'm going to have a Cosmo. Like I would be like, I want a 7 and 7 on the rocks with a lime. They're fucking nasty, by the way. But like
that's
crazy.
Really funny.
But I craved, I mean, as you guys know my story, I grew up in a very abusive childhood in a home. And going out and sneaking out, it wasn't just for Tiffany to get wasted. It was really, I'm going to start to cry. I don't care. It was about the movement. I felt free. That's why I go Coachella's a little played out, but I didn't give a shit. Like I go to Coachella, like I'll go to like the Electronic Daisy Cart. I love going to festivals, and it's not because I want to be seen or it's content. I feel free. It makes me feel so free. And little Tiffy,
oh my God, just chills.
Little Tiffy feels free, you guys. I mean, and I am stiff as a board from being, in recovery for exercise addiction. I mean, and also because I did like step. You guys remember, was it Reebok who did step? I did step, and I was like, the more risers, the better. So I did like 4 risers. I was that annoying person in the front with the 4 risers. Why do I feel like fabulous. You taught step? Like I just feel like you.
I did. And do you remember rebounding?
Oh my God. Dying.
I taught everything. Yeah.
Dying. Oh my God. I'm dying. You guys, I was so obnoxious. I was the person in the front. Like I was always in the front center. And I was like, I was the 4 riser person.
Oh my God.
But now my knees are horrible now because of it. So it's not like, there's a lot of moves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I go down, it's rough coming back up. Like some of the moves I see you do, I'm like, I can go down, but coming back up, it's like, it's rough. So for people who are like, you know what, you guys, I'm listening to you guys. I like to move too. I want to start kind of dancing too, because this sounds good. How can they start? How can they start doing this?
Oh God, I love that. And just listening to you, I got chills because like how emotional you get is how emotional I see so many women get. One of my very first tone and tease classes was in California years ago. I walked into a room of 70 women and I was horrified. I was so nervous. So it's just like opening yourself up. So I mean, and this is what I was doing. I was almost like teaching myself and them. And it's not so much about the choreography or the music, so to speak, but just about you just being in your body and just feeling your body and moving. Just, I mean, I think about when you go to a wedding or a club or something, if, or like we don't doing those things anymore, just being at home with your kids, just like moving without thinking. It doesn't have to be anything so serious. And once you can just not think about like if anyone else is looking at you and just being very much in your body. That's why I feel like the mindset piece is really important to kind of open people up. So there's so many instructors, there's so many classes online. But yeah, just something so simple. Like, and something I'll do is like just sitting in your chair and just like moving your body side to side, or even like touching your body. All different music depending on what feels good to you.
Can the like regular public take any of your like tone and tease classes, or is this like a membership thing? How does it work?
I have, it's so interesting because I've never really done anything online since COVID. I have one free class on my YouTube channel, and I have been toying with the idea of doing more online because people have asked. And I just do think it's so important to learn how to just release your mind into your body because it's something that's just so powerful. And not everyone, I can say to you, hey guys, just do like a step touch or move your body or touch your body. But I mean, people are gonna be like, yeah, that sounds great. But like, what do you mean? Like, where do I touch? Like, how do I move? So, so yeah, it's something that I'm definitely thinking about, but right now it's not.
I mean, what I would really love to see you guys do, why not rip off the fucking Band-Aid? Because, my whole thing's about like, let's stop toe dipping and let's go all in. They say like, oh, well, you can, dance like no one's watching. Why don't you hold yourself accountable? And why not get into your zero fuck zone and record your favorite song and you're just jamming to it? It can be sitting at your desk, like writing content. It could be you holding the phone and like rocking out while brushing your teeth, and share it in your Instagram stories and tag, myself at ProjectME with Tiffany and Tara at Tara Romano, and tag us. And that ripple effect, you're going to see what happens when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
It gives permission to other women to do the same, and it raises other people's vibe and makes them smile. That's what there are times there. It's not like I'm always like, oh, I'm going to plan out my content and I'm going to go do a dance video to Shoop. No, it's more like how can I best serve my audience during this time that is so heavy and filled with so
Mm-hmm.
much shit and propaganda and people telling you what you need to do, and oh, I'll tell you what you need to do, but if you really want to know, you have to buy my course and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like I want to show up and like help you guys just raise your energy a little bit, and that's why I do it. I
Yeah.
think
And I
that's
feel
why
like,
you do it too, isn't it?
yeah. And I feel like maybe movement for you is jumping up and down. Like maybe like that's what it is. It's just moving. And I think we get so stuck in what it has to look like. And it's just so freeing to just not think about how people are going to perceive what you're doing and just do it.
1,000%. That's why I keep saying the magic happens in that zero fuck zone, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
lost on me. It takes time. If you're really bored, you can scroll back on my Instagram. Obviously, you can't see like my stories and stuff, but it took me time to get in that zone, and I'd done a ton of inner work. I built, myself from no self-worth to like loving myself, but put it out there, right, on the interwebs was a whole nother level. And it really is freeing. And even if it's not in the form of dance, why not do it in the form of getting on a video and talking and just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to talk to who my ideal client is and just keep it real and share what's up.
Yes. I don't remember what book it is. But I remember the author saying, even when he speaks to like thousands of people, he's thinking about the one person that he's talking to or can touch. And then I feel like that connects you to so many more people. I think, again, and I know this was true for me. It's just, I used to think that more was better, more numbers, more likes, more followers. But when I know for me for sure is that when I'm truest to myself, I'm more connectable. It feels good. The connections come easy. People are more inboxes, more people sharing that like what I'm doing is helping them. And I mean, that lights me up.
What happens when you share something? Because you've been in the online space like far longer than me. What happens when you share something now, whether it's like a static post, but like you poured your heart out into your content, is a beautiful picture, or maybe it was a video of you dancing or something, and you don't get that many views or likes. Like, what does anything come up for you, or you really don't care at all?
So in this stage right now that I'm in, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. To be completely honest, again, for whatever reason, in the start of this year, after the pandemic happened, and we were kind of forced to stay home and canceled all the trips, like, I went from those 7 W-2 forms and I still worked like that. I was always on the go. So I was able to stop for a second, and like, I had so many issues with my self-worth again. And I think I know for sure that's why I teach this. And I was so affected. And that's what made me stop unfollowing people who triggered me. And I went deep into work and healing and, childhood trauma and things like that. And I mean, right now, it doesn't affect me, but it's because I showed up consistently. Now, even when I didn't feel good and I didn't want to show up on social media, I still did consistently all of the time. So I still took action even in spite of how I was feeling, just to learn and grow and figure out how to feel better, like get the better feeling thought.
So when you put stuff out there and it doesn't, for whatever reason, land, it just doesn't get that much engagement. I know that you're a businesswoman, so you do notice the numbers, right? You notice the numbers. What do you say to yourself instead? Because it sounds like you don't go to the place anymore of, like the defeatist, right? It's like another post and no one liked it. And this time I did a video just like Tiffany and Tara said, and still no one liked it and no one DM'd me, right? What do you do? What's your process when you see those numbers?
I mean, I can always if it's something that I feel so strongly about, I feel people really need to read, or I thought was important, I could always, reuse it. It's just, I mean, I've reused videos and content. I might ask somebody to like read it over and see what they think. I've done that before, but I mean, sometimes I don't even really, to be honest, I don't think it always matters what you say. It's if you're connecting with someone, like, I think sometimes the words don't necessarily matter. I feel like a lot of it is energy. And I say this because I remember in the beginning of, especially network marketing, when I would reach out to people, I like verbally vomited, but like some of those people are my best friends now and in my business and doing so well. So it's more of like you and how you show up rather than always the content. And that's, at least in my opinion, what I found.
I 1,000% agree. I mean, there are definitely strategies of things that help and work, but energy doesn't lie. You can't out strategize crap energy, insincere energy, fake energy, energy with an agenda. And I'm myself included, because I will still, for me, money equals safety and security. So I'll have things that come up for me where I start going into like a whole money thing. And most people would say to me, like, it's irrational. Well, yes, fear is irrational, but I'll start going down that path. If I don't catch that and work through it, and I showed up on video, guaranteed the video wouldn't land. If I came from the place of, oh my God, I better do this on video. I better launch a course now. I better do this. I need to do a mini course on this. I better, blah, 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 blah. I better do all these things. I have to. I'm telling you, none of it would fucking sell.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't.
Yeah.
So what I want to have people hear from you is, it sounds like, and I could be wrong, so you can tell me if my assumption is wrong. when you were really like building your network marketing business and Tone and Tease, when you're building that and you had to do a lot of outreach, right? A lot of meeting people, a lot of outreach. How were you able to do that and not feel like you were annoying people, bothering them?
I say these businesses, in my opinion, are anyway businesses. People are looking to be a part of a community. People are looking for support, connection, products. And if you're showing up in your life doing the things that you love, I feel like connection just happens. And I feel like sometimes I always put myself back to where I was when I first started some of this. And I used to listen to some trainers on the stage or someone. And I know some of the noise and judgment that happens when hearing a trainer, at least from my experience. You're like, well, of course, it's easy for you to say, you're already there, quote unquote. But I think we are always looking for the destination and just not enjoying ourselves on the way there. And I truly, to the core of me, I didn't even know what alignment was. When I first started all of this, I was in true alignment. Like I was doing things I loved, having fun, not getting attached to the outcome or how it looked. There's so many ways to do things in this online space, in network marketing, in any kind of business. There's funnels, there's emails, there's just a plethora of things to choose from. And I think we want it to look this certain way. And there's just so many different ways for it to look like. So, I don't think that I got caught up in it, and I was really enjoying myself in the process. And I am just a true natural connector. I absolutely, to the core of me, love people. I love being of service. So, and this was even before I created the income. So it just comes from me innate. So I feel like that was a really big part of it.
Yeah, you've got to go with what naturally moves you. But I love that you said the word alignment. I was saying this to a client the other day. I had never heard of the word alignment.
Ever.
I feel like that was like, I just learned that in like 2019.
Right.
Like I've never heard of that. There was another word too. Oh, like being in the flow, that kind of stuff. And it was like, listen, I've done every form of therapy and healing you can possibly imagine. I'm sure there's even more I could do. But when you own a business, I know it can be confusing when it's a personal brand because it's your face, but that's still a business. And just go back to that example that Tara gave about like you own like a store or in your job and you say, I'm just, I've got nothing to give today. I'm just not in alignment or in flow. And you're like calling into work. I'm telling you right now, you'll be on like the quick list to be laid off as fast as possible. Would you fire yourself? You've got to really be honest with yourself. And I'm not saying it to shame you. I'm saying it to wake you up and also to like laugh about it. Cause it is kind of funny how ridiculous we are with some of this stuff. Like don't go too far and allow that to be, it's like, it goes too far with giving yourself permission. It's like enabling yourself, right?
Oh, for sure. It's like, giving yourself the break. Like, you can take time off, which I believe there's a time and a place for that. But I also think there's a time and a place for hustle. I really, really do. And I think people want to skip it, in my opinion. I actually said to a friend, I'm like, somebody was talking about having another lockdown. I'm like, I feel like some people want a lockdown because they want an excuse not to work, and I just feel like I've been working since I was young and I just knew I wanted a different way. I didn't even know there was another way. But as soon as I figured it out, like I wanted that for myself and for other people that I'm close to.
What is in your opinion, what is the number one reason why people in network marketing fail?
Because they want it overnight. I feel like people, again, I say it all the time, we come from such a microwave world. They want it now, put up the one post. We see people being successful and I don't even know why people I feel like sometimes people aren't 100% sure why they want what other people want. I think getting really grounded and clear on your why that you're doing something, right? And I think the consistency, like people just have the excuses of why they're not consistent, like why it's easier for someone or they can't do it. it's not easy to teach that. Like, it's hard to teach motivation. You know, that's something that I feel like you either do or don't. It's something that you're going to choose to do or not to do.
And you might not be cut out, by the way, for being an entrepreneur or an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, online this or that. And that's okay too. You have to also take a look and be honest with yourself. I'm not cut out to be like a corporate 9-to-5 employee. I never was, right?
Either.
And I kept trying to like smash that square peg into a round hole and make it work. And I had to like have a come to Jesus with myself about that. But there's a lot of people who aren't meant to do what Tara does, what I do. And that's okay too.
I completely agree.
What is the number one trait or reason for the people who you have seen in your organization be the most successful? What's like the common thread of that type of person?
I just think grit and openness, like openness to see things differently, to work on themselves. I feel like, you know, you said it multiple times about, you know, would you wake up every day and hire yourself? Like, are you the type of person that you want to be surrounded by? And I think a lot of the people that I work with have done so much work on themselves. And I work with tons of moms and dads who have, you know, multiple jobs and multiple kids that just do the do. And it's, again, it's something that you can't really always teach. You can motivate, and some people just want like the community and, you know, to be supported and the fun, which is totally fine. But if you really want to make an impact on yourself, your life, your family, and other people's, it's just a different kind of work ethic, in my opinion. But it can be fun. Like, it can be fun. And I feel like you are such a testament to that, of showing up and just having a good time and being authentic. And those are the people that I just totally am attracted to. And I would ask the people listening, like, who are the people that you are attracted to? Like, because you definitely have a piece of that in you. In my opinion, I feel like we want what someone specifically has because we almost have that piece of that in us. Like, if you have the thought in your mind, it's there for you, but we just have so much blocking in the way. And that's why I feel so much passionate about personal development and mindset.
I love that. And thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's like when I got to that zero fuck zone, what I mean by that is it's not like, I don't mean it. There's an unhealthy way to be in that zone, right? Like, I don't care about anybody. Blah, blah, blah. It's the other side. It's the freeing. I'm going to show up the silly, crazy, 1,000% me that you would see in my, like, truly as my best friend in my real life. Like, that's who I show up as. That's what you guys deserve from me. And me doing any version of that, which I have tried that. When I first came on, I did what you did. Like, oh, well, I need to like go have a photo shoot on the beach and wear long, flowy, flowery dresses. And I got hair extensions. I mean, I went deep with it. I laughed. I mean, there's nothing wrong with hair extensions. I'm all about a good weave, but I mean, it wasn't for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's like, I was playing a part. I wasn't being fake. I just didn't know. And it was exhausting. It is so freeing. Like, I just, you know what? You guys don't even have to dance on this thing. I'm like, I'm wanting you to do on Instagram stories. I just want you to do something on your Instagram stories, or you can do it in an Instagram reel that is truly you. Maybe it's like, eating a sandwich, right? Like, some of you know what I'm saying? Like, some people would need some bread. Let's be honest. Like, I'm over it. Right. So it's like, maybe it's eating a sandwich and saying, you know what? Like, I'm a fitness entrepreneur and sometimes you just need a sandwich. Like, you don't need to like worry about carbs. Like, maybe that's what you show. It doesn't have to be you dancing or jumping around or whatever, but show something that is like really you, that only your significant other or like your best friends see. And then tag myself at ProjectME with Tiffany, tag Tara at Tara Romano. I really want to see this. Like, let's start a thing. Let's start putting the fucking content out there that make us feel good, that we want to see. Right? Instead of going, oh, this doesn't make me feel good. That doesn't make me feel good. Well, it starts with us putting out there the stuff that we want to see more of. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just having fun with it. I feel like that's such a theme for me right now. even I think about some of the posts I put up, and I just, I can tell the ones where I wasn't feeling so free and just in my head versus the other ones, but I still showed up, and I'm here to talk about it.
Yeah. And that, like you said, you did a lot of inner child work over this last 6 months. And I mean, obviously with my, trauma from my childhood, like I've done over 6 years now worth of heavy, heavy inner child work. That's where you see that like playful side of me, but that's
Hmm.
where you can pull from to bring that fun into like your content or into whatever you do. Like that
100%.
childlike fun, isn't that the best thing that you see in the people close to you too?
So much, so much. And it's funny because I didn't know about inner child work until about two years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I feel that way about this situation. It's really interesting. I just feel so strongly about personal development and just getting some healing for whatever it is, or just any kind of mindset work for yourself. It's because, especially for business, because I feel like business and personal are so parallel.
They are. It really are. I thought they had to be separate. So
Mm-mm.
I really did. I thought, this is business, Tiffany. I'm doing like the robot as I'm saying it.
So
Like,
funny.
this is business, Tiffany. And then this is personal Tiffany, who's like wasted at a music festival wearing a fake nose ring. Yes, that's how I met Mike, was wearing a nose ring. It's comical when you think about it now. But I was like, I'm rocking a nose ring. Like, that looks cute. It was totally two different people. And I thought that that's what it was supposed to be because that's all I knew.
Hmm.
And now I've integrated the two, and it's made me love work. It's made me love my career. It's made me love how I make money. And therefore, I'm making a shit ton more of it.
Hmm.
And I feel you do the same thing. Like, it's a blend. It's not like, okay, now this is Tara trying to sell Tone and Tease tickets. I don't think anyone would
Yeah.
come if you did that.
Yeah. It's just like, I feel like, again, it's just something that happens authentically when going back to the connection too, and the relationships that you create with people. So, wanting the money is one thing, but being able to create those relationships is just so important. But again, like the relationship with yourself too, that's so important. And just the mind talk that's happening on a daily basis. I and it's funny because I've been doing this for like 11 years. And I always say, I'm like, if I'm feeling this way and I've been doing all this work, I could just imagine someone who's never really stepped into this type of, mindset work and understand how our mind actually works and understand energy. Like, I'm doing a lot of research and reading about energy and the science behind it because it's just such a passion of mine. And being through it, especially this year, I just feel so passionate about it. And then watching women literally transform in front of my eyes is the most, it's just everything. It's
Mm,
priceless, honestly.
I agree. That's what makes me show up when I don't feel like it, is that when someone says thank you, oh my God, you helped me so much for free or something like that, I'm like, I can't believe that or whatever. I say it is truly my humble honor. And I really
Hmm.
mean that.
Hmm.
It really is my humble honor. I am blessed and privileged to do what I do, right? Just as you're you're blessed and privileged to do what you do. How can all these wonderful humans listening who want more of you, want to work more on like the movement and really using that to help them, unblock and unstuck, is there a way that they can connect and work with you to get help with that?
Well, I never have done online before until this all happened. So it's not something I have right now. I mean, they can follow my Tone and Tease account. I do share a lot of body positive, like loving yourself, worthy, and dance, there as well. But it's funny, like who knows what's going to happen this year, and if I'll decide to do something like that. But yeah, to be honest, I've never done anything online because I just thrive so much in person. I love the energy.
But don't
So
you have
yeah.
tickets right now that are for sale?
Yeah, they're in Jersey. So, and it's 20 people. every Friday night.
Oh, okay. It's a limited thing. So then go follow her ass on Instagram at Tara Romano. First of all, you have to do the exercise we talked about. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want what you say you want, then you do have to. Like, I want you guys, seriously, do an Instagram reel or do Instagram stories and show something. Movement, eating that damn sandwich. do something that you only normally reserve, for like people in your personal life that you think, oh my God, I can't show that. People are going to think I'm an idiot, or people are going to think I'm a fool. Show it and tag us. You'll be amazed at what will happen for you.
Yeah. I just thought, and if anyone's in New York or New Jersey, I have my Your Life Unleashed mini-series that I'm doing, a few of them for the end of the year, as long as everything works out and we're still good to go. So those are happening too, we do
we have
a lot
of East Coasters, and there's a lot of people right now that they want to go travel somewhere. So they can just go, is the best place to just go to your Instagram.
Yep.
Okay. So go to at Tara Romano. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I was so looking forward to just this episode, because I'm only having people on who like I get lit up by, and like little Tiffy was like, oh, our friend's coming on today. This is so exciting.
I was just as excited. Like I said, even before you had asked me, I was, I feel like I sent you a message because I'm like, you're hysterical. And I sent you to so many people that I know. I'm like, you have to follow this woman. She's amazing.
Oh,
you just make working so much fun, and just like showing up. It's the best.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your stuff that, I think it's important you guys to hear. You remember what she said, like she's been going through it in the last 6 months, right? So just remember, like, it doesn't matter what someone has in their bank account, what fancy ranking they are at a network marketing company, what their body looks like. We all are going through some shit, right?
Yes. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it, but it's freeing when you do.
Totally. All right. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.